Welcome back to episode 27 of the Rundown Podcast. This is Noah. I got Destin with me.
What's up, y'all? Happy to be back.
We got Eli, am I right?
What's good, everybody?
We got Jalen here.
What's up?
We're going to dive into these college football playoffs that just came out, the official top four, and a little bit of a turmoil went down between Ohio State and Bama about who should get in. What were y'all's thoughts on the top four?
I told y'all.
I mean, I knew what.
I was already in the committee room. I told y'all TCU was staying in there. Y'all thought I was just playing.
You like to hide behind what the committee would do instead of what the right thing they should have done.
Yeah.
Well, I already admitted that Bama was a better team. I mean, we already knew that.
Yeah,
I
I think the committee went with the politically correct answer instead of
I like that sometimes.
They didn't want to make everybody
instead
mad.
of actually the four best teams because I mean there's Georgia fans I know and they're telling me, man, I'm so glad we don't have to get faced up against Alabama in that first round of the playoff. So
And you know what's really nasty? They was smart by keeping TCU at 3 because they know TCU would have been embarrassed going in playing Georgia. At 4.
Georgia, yep.
So that was a good move to put them against Michigan and then put Ohio State in there.
Of course, that's why.
I mean I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. I think Michigan's going to handle business against TCU.
TCU got a better chance against Michigan. Let's be real.
Michigan can
Georgia
lay an
would
egg.
kill them.
We wouldn't be surprised if Michigan laid an egg.
I wouldn't be shocked because they almost laid egg to unranked teams in the regular season. So. I mean, Georgia hadn't really. Well, outside of the Missouri game, they kind of
say that about every single team in the playoff, though. So,
yeah. So we got Bama playing Kansas State in the Sugar Bowl now. They put them at 5, so they're the odd man out. So a lot of people thought they should have made it in. I thought they should have just because the top. I mean, they're one of the 4 best teams in my opinion. But I mean, TCU losing their championship game and not even dropping a spot just seems so whack to me. Like, I get why they put them at 3 because, them going up against Georgia, they would get smacked. But, I don't know. I feel like they should have at least dropped a spot if you're going to put them in there anyway.
well, I mean, you can't really drop them a spot if you put a team in that got blown out by 22 points.
Yeah, that's true.
They were stuck. To be honest, the committee this year was stuck because everybody lost kind of at the wrong moments at the times that they didn't really want to.
But, Ohio
That's the
State.
thing. I don't feel like you can drop TCU when you put in Ohio State because Ohio State got absolutely skull-dragged against Michigan.
This is true, but Ohio State fans have made the argument that Ohio State has the better loss because TCU lost to Kansas State. But I think I don't know. I do understand losing by 22 at home to your rival is just. I think that's the whole reason why Ohio State shouldn't have been in the first place. But the 4 is set now, so. That's what the playoffs got to deal with. So I think Georgia's going to run the table again, and people are going to see that if you put teams like TCU in there, that they're just not going to hold their own.
So you got Georgia beating Ohio State?
Yeah, easily.
Easily. I'm picking Ohio State.
First of all,
Somebody saying the
Smith and Jigba is opting out of the game, even though he was hurt. He's deciding not to play. He's just going to go ahead and get ready for the draft. Which, is here nor there. If he's already hurt, then I guess why not? Why risk further injury? I get it, but I don't know. To me, if your team has a chance to play for a championship and you've got any chance at playing, I would play. But I think Georgia's going to handle business easily. They're the healthier team. They're the better team. They have the way better defense. So we're going to see what Stroud's looking like against a actual respectable defense too. So be a good game to watch.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Georgia on that, too. I don't think Ohio State's not going to be able to contain Brock Bowers, and I think he's going to be the vocal point of that offense. And also, they're one of the best rushing teams in the country. They've got a great defense. They've got – this is the most talented defense Ohio State's going to play all year long. So, it's going to come down to C.J. Stroud making those deep balls. That's the big key in this one if Ohio State's going to look to knock off Georgia because one thing we saw – in the Tennessee game, Hendon Hooker had several opportunities throughout early on in the game to connect on some deep shots, and he just barely missed them and overthrew them. So if Ohio State can connect on those big-time plays, then they might have a chance to get in a shootout. But I just don't trust their defense to be able to keep them in it, so I think Georgia's going to run away with this one.
See, I think that in a big game like this, even though Bennett's been there, he's earned his way to New York, which is questionable in a lot of people's eyes.
We'll get to that in a little bit, too.
I think that he's going to have a costly turnover or 2 in this game, and I think that CJ's going to put pressure on him. They haven't had to guard any receivers like Ohio State's about to bring. They got the best receiver in the country, and we seen LSU be able to throw the ball all around the field against Georgia.
Thank you. I was just about to 500 yards.
Yeah,
500 yards to LSU.
In the backup quarterback. So I don't have the most confidence in that secondary that Georgia has. Their strength is their front 7, their linebackers, and if they can't get pressure, he's getting the ball out quick and able to make big plays, then I think that Ohio State stands a good chance. So
Yeah,
they can
but
turn that into a shootout.
I was just gonna say real quick. I mean, 500 yards. You mentioned that, but they still lost by 20 points.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about
It
Georgia.
really, I mean,
Georgia's defense is not as good as last season's. It's still really good, but they have some. I like Ringo, but I don't trust any of the other DBs on Georgia. To be quite honest with you, I think they're more suspect than people think.
I trust them more than 99% of the rest of defenses in college football.
But I mean, I understand that game wasn't close for LSU, but you give up 500 yards.
Okay, but
LSU's offense.
Go back and watch Michigan against Ohio State. Look how that went without their starting running back. J.J. McCarthy was tossing the ball over the field against Ohio State, and they didn't even have their key running back.
That's a good point.
I just think a different team's going to show up.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's going to show up motivated. They have to. I mean, after you get embarrassed by your rival, you have to show a little backbone. I think they're going to show a little backbone.
Yeah, and so who do you have winning that game?
Oh, I got Ohio State.
Wow.
I think this is a 2014 situation.
Yeah, they're going to win the whole
Well,
thing.
nobody expected Ohio State to beat Bama. Nobody expected Ohio State to beat Bama in 2014, and they did, and they won. And
I got them winning the whole thing.
Yeah, that beat Michigan, and they go. I mean, Ohio State.
Y'all crazy, man.
2014 right here. I mean, think about it. The 2014 team was just as talented as this one.
I don't know.
Elite running back, elite receiver, elite quarterback, and the Zeke Elliott. Now, I think they are going to get that running back. I forgot his name.
Trayvon Henderson.
I think Henderson will be back. So they don't have Njigba,
but
but they have enough on offense to.
They
score 30, 40
I don't
points.
think they're going to be able to run the ball as effectively. I think if they're going to win this game, you're going to have to it's going to come down to their passing game. Mm-hmm. It's going to come down to Marvin Harrison Jr. So that's the key, in my opinion. That's how I see Ohio State pulling off an upset if they do upset Georgia. It's going to have to be centered around that pass game. I don't think they're going to be able to get that much going in the run game.
Yeah,
they're going to have to be they're going to have to be more effective than what they were against Michigan, though.
Yeah, I think Georgia handles this game pretty easily. I just don't see a possible way that Ohio State could hang with Georgia and be able to put up enough points on Georgia's defense to actually hang with them. Okay. Especially with the fact that Jackson Smith-Njigba was the one talking the most trash on Twitter, and then he opts out of the game. It's just weird to me.
I mean, he has to protect his draft status, though.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. But he was like, I promise y'all don't want to let us back in. And then, once they get back in, he opts out of the game. So, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But what are y'all's opinions on the Michigan TCU game?
Oh, that's a skunk in Michigan. I think TCU will make it interesting in the first half because Max Duggan is a guy that's just scrappy, but the Michigan is they're just too physical. I feel like this is like a USC Utah, the finesse at TCU, and then they're just gonna weigh them down. By the third quarter, it'll be a 2 or 3 touchdown game.
I agree. I think Michigan's run game is gonna be too much for them, and their defense will lock in and be able to slow down and stop TCU in that offense. So TCU showed some holes throughout the season, and they got exposed a little bit last week as well. So I think Michigan to capitalize on that, and I got Harbaugh. Yeah,
I mean, I think that this Michigan TCU game is going to be a closer game than Georgia Ohio State, in my opinion.
Ooh.
I think TCU has a better chance at upsetting than Ohio State does, and so I think this game, I could see this being like a pretty close game, down to the wire type game because TCU just loves having those type of wins. So I'm still going to take Michigan because they have that really dominant win over a good team like Ohio State. And TCU, I mean, they don't really play anybody. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm still going to take Michigan, but I think TCU does have a chance in this game.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Donovan Edwards. That's a dude that, that's caught my eye. I thought after Blake Corum went out that they weren't going to be able to keep that run game established like how they have been able to do throughout the majority of the season. But he came in, played great against Ohio State, and then in that fourth quarter and then in the Big Ten championship, I got Michigan winning, though. J.J. McCarthy, I think he's going to take care of the football. They're going to make less mistakes than TCU. Max Duggan, obviously, he's a scrappy guy, but he's not going to be able to run 4 straight times and get 20-plus yards like how he was able to against Kansas State. Michigan's defense is a lot more disciplined. So I'm taking Michigan in that matchup for the semifinal game between 2 and 3.
So we got Ohio State, Michigan meeting back up in the championship. And I'm pretty sure me and Jalen both got Ohio State winning that. And y'all got Georgia, Michigan?
Yeah, and we got Georgia winning the championship.
A rematch of last year?
I'm not too sure who I got winning between Michigan and Georgia.
Oh, really? Okay.
Ooh, okay.
I'm not counting out Michigan.
Michigan's burned them too much this year.
Michigan, I mean, this year they've actually. I was
So
kind of.
they're not playing with their food anymore. You actually
This
trust
is what
them.
I'm
mean,
saying.
I
This is a 360 from
Look,
the
I was-
Eli, because Eli, you had no trust in
I
Michigan
know-
a few
no
weeks ago.
scope.
I mean, you turned around. They might win a natty.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I know I was saying that they play with their food, but I mean everybody has.
I told you that. I told you.
That's true.
Wait,
That's
who's
true.
the one? Who's the one
Look,
that told
I'll
you
give
that
you
though?
credit. Look, I'll give you.
okay.
I'll give you credit for that, man.
Hey,
I kind of turned a blind eye to that, but everybody's been doing that this year. There's been no
Thank you.
There's been no clear cut dominant number one team.
Thank
so,
you, Eli. I'm just happy that you finally agreeing with me, man. We
Yeah.
actually agree.
Yeah,
That sounds good. I appreciate that.
yeah. So I'm not counting out Michigan yet. I'll have to wait and make my pick once we get the semifinal results.
Okay.
But yeah, and then next up, obviously college football playoff was a big talk, but also just yesterday or the day before, the Heisman Trophy finalists were announced for college football as well. We had Caleb Williams, Stetson Bennett, C.J. Stroud, and Max Duggan as the 4 finalists announced for the Heisman ballot. So what are you guys' take on that, and would you change anything about that?
I mean, it's crazy that this is like kind of the first season I can remember where there hasn't been a clear Heisman favorite. I don't know who's going to win this award, to be honest. And the fact that Stetson Bennett, I get that Georgia's undefeated, whatever. If you look at his stats, he's like in the 30s and 40s at his position.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's no way he should have been in that conversation over a guy like Hendon Hooker or Blake Corum. I get they both had the injuries, but, I mean, you look at their stats, and they haven't really missed that many games, and they played most of the season. So, I mean, I think definitely Hendon Hooker should have been at least invited, Blake Corum as well. But I don't know. It's like they took – Caleb Williams obviously has the stats to back it up, so that's why I think he's going to end up winning the Heisman. But other than that, I mean, I don't really see – I don't know who wins this award. That's just who I think. I mean, Caleb Williams might win it just based off stats, but –
Yeah, I think I'm going with Caleb. I mean, he's had probably the best year out of all the guys there. It's funny. Normally you have a Heisman moment, right?
Mhm.
You get those magical moments throughout the season, or someone who finishes strong within their conference championship game. The top 3 guys, because Bennett's not going to win it. He's the only one that played good in the SEC championship. But the other 3 guys, last time we seen them, their team all lost, and so it feels bad to try to give an award like the Heisman to guys coming off a bad ending to their year. But I think
Right.
Caleb Williams obviously has the best body of work to me.
mm-hmm.
And I feel like he's played at the highest level, so I'll go Caleb.
Caleb all the way. I mean, USC, I watched that defense, and my God, Lincoln Riley. I mean, bro, they need to just get textbooks and just show them how to tackle. I mean, I thought we was in middle school football playing wrap-up. They were trying to but this is tackle football. They were trying to play wrap-up like we in middle school.
They were playing 2-hand touch out there in the
I
Pac-12
I
championship.
couldn't watch that game. It was such bad tackling. It's terrible. But I had to say that. But I mean, yeah, definitely the award has to go to Caleb. To me, Stetson did not deserve to get in. I'm one of the guys that backs Stetson up. I think he is better than what people give him credit for. But to me, Blake has to make it, and Hooker. I don't mind Duggan because I think TCU might have a couple extra losses if he wasn't as scrappy as he was. So I'm not mad with Duggan, but I think Stetson didn't deserve to get in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of fingernail polish, but Caleb Williams, he's a great player, and if I had to choose a Heisman winner, I'm taking Caleb Williams hands down.
Yeah.
But what doesn't make any sense to me is what the heck is Stetson Bennett doing in this Heisman ballot? He has 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
I don't know.
Look,
Bo Nix should have gotten in before him.
Yeah,
To be honest.
literally.
There's 5 players off the top of my head that I can name that have a way better case to be a Heisman candidate than Stetson Bennett. Bryce Young, Drake May, Hendon Hooker, Blake Corum, and Marvin Harrison Jr. So
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, I know. Look, I'll give Stetson this. He's an underrated quarterback for what he does, and I don't think he gets enough appreciation. He fits into that system with Georgia great, and he's a perfect fit for what they want to do. But that doesn't make him that doesn't give him honors to be considered in this prestigious award. I mean, these are the best of the best, and Stetson Bennett hasn't proven to me that he's the top of the crop and best of the best when it comes to his position.
I mean, I just at this point I just feel like they just looked at the playoff teams and just said we got to pick a guy.
Yeah.
And the best guy to pick on Georgia was, I guess, Stetson. I mean, that's the only reason. I mean, I don't understand how Stetson gets in. Like I said, Bo Nix even had a great season. It was Washington's quarterback Penix had a great season. So I don't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a lot of options. I don't understand how Stetson was the guy.
I guess it's just team success, and he's just
That's the
the
only.
catalyst of it. But I mean, like y'all said, he has no business being in the room with these guys.
Yeah, there's no way that he wins, but if he does, that's the biggest crap award I've ever seen.
Do y'all think
There's
the
no
Heisman
way.
should come after the playoff, or you think that
I
it could
I don't know. See,
I
like
think-
there's
I like-
arguments for both sides, but
I like it. I like it being.
hold on, just say that part again.
I think that what did I say?
You said
Should it be after the
should
playoffs?
it be after the
Oh,
playoff?
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the timing of it. I think it's good to have it right after the conference championship. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think there's arguments for both sides. I mean, obviously you have the teams that don't make the playoffs, so if you wait to get that award out after the playoffs, then you kind of go that time without seeing them play. So I mean, I'm more on the side of keeping it where it's at right after the conference championship, but there is arguments for both sides.
Yeah, I would. I actually have to agree with y'all on that. I think the Heisman is perfect where it's at. I think like NBA MVP and NFL, and I am a fan of that being after postseason because I think that then really let's be honest, postseason is where the magic's made.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for those type of things, yes. But for the Heisman, I think it's perfect to do it after the conference championship.
I think it'd be cool if let's say the two finalists are in the playoff and it's really, really close, then maybe you could wait if they played against each other or something like that.
Mhm.
But I agree because you would be too distant away from seeing those guys who didn't have a extra bowl game or whatever the case may be.
And then you have to hope for those matchups. Like, what if the semifinal, one of them
Exactly.
lose, and then you gotta just wait
Yeah.
for no reason.
Yeah, one thing about the Heisman that I kind of don't like where it's trending as of recently. It's a little better than the NFL, but it's kind of turning into what the NFL MVP is. It's just a quarterback award.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like the Heisman. It's supposed to exemplify like the best player in college football, including defense. And I think
Mhm.
even last year, I could have made the case that Will Anderson was the best player in the country, but Bryce
Mhm.
Young won it.
Yeah,
Not to say that Bryce
because
didn't
he's
play
quarterback,
amazing,
right?
but he was a quarterback, and I think there was some bias just
Mhm.
because of his position and the numbers. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been 18, 20 years since the last time we saw a defensive player win it.
Who was the last one? Charles Woodson.
It might have been. I can't remember. off the
I want to
top of
say
my
it
head.
was Charles Woodson.
I know like Dominican Sue and Aiden Hutchinson. I think they were
Yeah,
both,
they were in it.
They both
Chase-
Chase.
in the
Chase.
race,
I think
but
Chase Young was.
Chase
also
Young
in it.
was in it, but like
The,
they never actually like get considered to win it.
Yeah,
They
we
just
might-
win the race.
I
Yeah,
think
we-
like,
I think Teo was the only one that
Teo
was.
went in
Teo
there.
was
Teo
second. Teo got second
Yeah.
in his, but that was
Yeah.
the closest. I think.
and I think Jabril Peppers was in it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, we haven't seen a defensive player win it in God knows how long. So
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of hate that too.
It's what
But
it is.
I'm
mean,
not the biggest fan of the Heisman ballot this year. But
Mhm.
I mean, nothing I can do about it. So
Yeah, see, like I think this year was like just as good of a year as any to not give it to a quarterback because I mean they really have not had this if you look at every Heisman the past few years, they've been standouts, not even close to like it's obvious they're going to win the Heisman.
right.
And like this year, it's crazy how much like you do not know who's going to win this award. And so I think if they could have included at least one defensive player in there, it would have been respectable. But having 4 quarterbacks and 2 of them don't really even deserve to be in the mix, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and then shifting off the Heisman ballot talk, a lot's been going on with the transfer portal. I think the transfer portal opened up this past Sunday or this past weekend, and within the first 24 hours of the transfer portal opening up, there was over 1,000 players that had already entered their name into the portal. So,
Crazy.
what are you guys' thoughts on that? And is there any way we can fix this?
It's basically free agency at this point.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, like, there's
Yeah.
no.
Basically.
It feels like there's no loyalty to the program that you go to, and
Mhm.
it's really different for college sports. I mean, I think college is starting to lose what made it so different from professional sports, and I think the fandoms and the student body and everything being a part of that, the culture and all that, it's going to lose that when you have guys just deciding to leave because things aren't going their way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for empowering players and stuff like that, but that's the way it's going to go. It's going to turn into a business, and
Yep.
it's going to be all about the money. And when things are driven by money, you lose something every time. So
Yeah, see, like personally, I don't like. I'm fine with the NIL, I guess. I mean, because some of these guys don't make it out of college sports, so they can get the money while they're in college for their family. So I mean, I'm for the NIL, but the transfer portal is where I draw the line. How the rules are right now, because I think they should go back to how they used to be, where if a guy transfers, they have to sit out a year. I think that would fix this flip flopping that transfer portal has been the past couple of seasons. It's just people saying, "Oh, I don't like how I'm being used here. Let me just go somewhere else." Like there's no loyalty. There's no actually fulfilling your commitment to the school that you sign. So I mean, then you see guys like Drake May and NC State's quarterback transferring, and you got what's his name, JT Daniels transferring yet again out of West Virginia. So like it's these guys that are transferring just like for what? I guess just to go to a better school. But like, what about the school you committed to when you signed there? Just no
I mean,
loyalty.
basically like a letter of intent that that a commit signs on recruiting day. It basically means nothing now because
Right.
if they want to, less than a year later, if they don't like their situation, they can dip out of there at any time they want to and
Yep.
not have any repercussions for it. I think we were talking about this in the preseason. There was one episode that we had, and we were talking about the transfer portal. And one thing that I brought up was, I mean, at least I like that. I like the idea of sitting out a player 1 year, like how Noah said. But I also think like you shouldn't allow a player to be able to transfer and leave that situation until they're 2 years through college. I think that would also help too.
Yeah, that's another way to look at it too. But like,
That way, I mean, that way at least a letter of intent when you sign with a school, it actually you're committing for some portion of time. It's not
Right.
just half a year. It's not just a few months.
right.
And if you want to, you just leave out of the blue whenever you want to.
Yeah, so like you've got like older players I've seen on Twitter talk about like this crazy transfer portal stuff that's going on. Like there's no like he's like this one guy. He was like, I waited my turn, learned behind the guy that was in front of me, earned my spot, and then once I got there my junior year, I had 2 full seasons as a starter that I earned. Like he didn't just flip flop and go somewhere else. It's just easier just because you had a starting spot. I mean, I think there's a respect value in sitting down, waiting your turn, learning from the guy that's older than you, learning from your coaches that you committed to. There's a reason why they brought you into their program. And if you just sign a letter of intent to commit to them and you're just flip flopping and going somewhere else, that's just like backwards to me.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I think it definitely needs to be some stipulation. I don't know about how long it should be because I mean you have guys that's truly in a bad situation. They just suck for them. For the guys that's just misusing it. But I gotta agree with y'all. It is at this point kind of becoming laughable, especially like a guy like JT Daniels. I mean, isn't this his 3rd time transferring?
This will be his 4th team.
Oh, his 4th team.
His
Because
4th team.
wait, he started with Georgia.
USC, right?
No, he went
He
to
USC after Georgia.
then he went to West Virginia,
Now, at this point, bro, what are you doing?
and now he's transferring out of West Virginia.
Bro,
so
bro,
wherever
been
he goes
to the
now.
East Coast, West Coast, South. Like, what are we doing at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, like, see, and he's a guy that's just misusing it. And then that messes it up for the other people. But that's just kind of how the world works. But it definitely needs to be some stipulations out there for people like that.
And like
mean,
people like Drake May and what's NC State's quarterback's name? I keep forgetting his name.
NC State, Devin Leary.
Yeah, Devin Leary. Both of those guys are like solid starting quarterbacks in college football. To some of the best at their position, and like they're transferring just because their school isn't a winning program. And so,
Well, I mean, UNC has. I mean, they've made the ACC championship a few years.
well, yeah, but like I
Yeah,
meant like they're
that
not
defense is
like
bad.
they haven't beaten Clemson or like they haven't like contended for an actual ACC title.
I think those guys might just want to go to a contender.
Yeah, maybe that's it. But like that's another thing that I don't like about it because like they committed to that school and all of a sudden they're some of the best at their position, and now instead of making their team better and with a coach, that's a big loss losing your starting quarterback.
So is it official that Drake May is in the portal now?
Yeah, he's in the portal, and so is Devin Leary. That mean
That's
both of
just-
them haven't.
I know that's just
yeah.
kind of weird to me because UNC just this past weekend was playing Clemson in the ACC
Yeah.
championship.
Why?
Yeah,
I'm-
like that's what
Alabama.
that's the,
I mean,
that's the part that doesn't make any sense to me. Like
I
why?
don't know.
I mean, that defense is bad. But, I mean, to me, he's in the perfect spot. I mean, with the offense. I think the defense is just bad. But that's not going to change.
It is
anyway.
hard for like I know we're giving ideas for parameters. I do think it's hard to try to restrict guys. Like it's hard to force people to. I don't know if I don't know if that's the right way to go to force people to not be able to transfer. Even though I don't like the outcomes, I think that the freedom there is some value in people having the choice,
Yeah,
right? And anytime you give any amount of freedom, there are going to be some people who abuse it. But I mean, it is bad outcomes that we're getting with everyone transferring. But
Yeah.
I just don't know how I would enforce parameters.
see, like people like Drake May and Devin Leary, 2 of the best at their position. I mean, the only way that I can see an argument of why they did what they did and put their name in the portal is that the three of the best programs in college football are losing their starting quarterback to the draft, and that's Bama, Georgia, and Ohio State. And so that's three programs that are probably going to be in the playoff at the bare minimum. At least they at least have a chance to every season. And some of the best coaches in college football, and when they're losing that quarterback, if these guys like Drake May, Devin Leary put their name, and JT Daniels too, put their name in the portal, maybe they'll get snagged up by one of these top programs. But that's literally the only reason I can see why they did what they did.
Yeah,
Nope.
I mean, obviously, JT Daniels is a pretty extreme example. But also, I think the worst one that in recent memory that I've, come to remember is what was his face? The guy that committed. He was the 5-star quarterback, Tate Marshall. that committed to-
Tate Martell.
Tate Martell that committed to Ohio State, then transferred to Miami, then went to another school. I think he transferred like 4 or 5 different times, and now he's retired.
Yeah,
And they even
Super
tried
Bowl.
to switch his position several times at several different schools that he went to too, and then it still didn't work out. So, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, those are the type of guys that are really hurting the transfer portal's reputation, and are kind of abusing that power, as y'all were touching on a little bit ago.
I'm gonna tell you a team that's gonna love it is Colorado. They're gonna go from 1 win to maybe 7 or 8 just in 1 year. Because I mean, Dion already said he's bringing 10 of his guys. I'm assuming Travis Hunter coming.
He's coming.
Then it's already some other 5-stars saying, "Hey, I'm coming."
You got his nephew Trey Sanders from Alabama. He's
Trey
coming.
Sanders was a former 5-star. So I mean, Colorado's gonna be a much better team in just 1 year. So if you're a Colorado fan, you're happy that the transfer board is here. I mean,
Yeah.
you willing in a lot of guys just off the whip, and then all the other guys are gonna be out of there.
Yeah.
So Colorado's gonna be excited.
So did we all see that video of Dion giving his speech for his first time talking to the players in Colorado?
That was crazy.
He's
What
bringing
y'all-
his luggage.
What y'all think about that? A lot of people think it's classless. A lot of people was like, you shouldn't be talking to these kids like this. Some people think it's being honest.
I was kind of indifferent about it at first watch. I watched it again just to kind of get a better understanding of what he was saying, because it did come off a little crazy, talking about y'all go ahead and jump in that portal. But I mean, Colorado is 1-11, bro. Like there is a reason they brought in a guy like Dion Sanders, and that's not only to be a coaching change but a culture change. And he's one of the guys that will do that, and he's not going to be shy about it. He's going to go in there and he talked to the team face to face, and he said, if y'all don't want to buy into what I'm doing here, I've got a lot of guys coming in. The more guys that jump in the portal, that's more open spots for me to bring in guys. And so, obviously, at that point of view of it, I agree with what he was saying. Because, I mean, you can't take a 1-11 team and just keep the same culture. Like this, it's not going to work.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, you have to just go ahead and tell the guys, who, not gonna be in, and go ahead and get that done out the way now. It ain't no need to wait until the season start and knowing the guys that you're not gonna have. I think we already know the quarterback's gonna be his son. He's gonna bring Travis Hunter most likely, and go win some dogs. So I mean, he just kept it real. Go ahead and get it out the way now. I like it.
I think that's what I respect the most is him just being 100% honest.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that his message was true, but they don't like the way he's saying it. But I think he's just being 100% himself and keeping it real with them. It's good for them guys to know like what they need to do instead of waiting to the last minute and being strung along.
Yeah.
Telling a guy, "Oh, you can compete for a position when he's gonna let you compete for it," but we all know
What's up?
He's
putting
basically just like, hey, I'm not here just to be another coach. Like,
Exactly.
I'm the coach. I'm going to take this team to the next level.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. I think sometimes the truth hurts.
Yeah.
You got to live
a good
with
way
that.
to put it.
That's life. Not everything's not everything's daisies and flowers. So I like how Dion phrased it. I mean, some people have a problem with it, but personally, with me, especially at this level of football, you should be used to it by now. If you're in college, if you're a young adult, and you can't handle a grown man, coming to your face and keeping it real with you, then that's on you. That
Keep it a buck.
that's just keeping it 100. I can't hold back when talking about that. I love my man Dion, man.
crazy. I could cut that up and really, I could chop that up the right way. Look crazy, but no, I respect. I mean, we all fans of Dion. Dion got that energy. Like if Dion walks in a room, everyone knows like this is Dion Sanders. He brings a different level of confidence to himself and to everyone around him. So I think he's gonna really change the way things have been run down there, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
So what y'all think Colorado record gonna be next year? Can it be an 8-4?
They're Pac-12
I mean,
champ. No.
Woo!
yeah,
First season?
I wouldn't
Utah?
go. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far first season. I mean, 1-11 that's a lot to bring up. He's basically working from the ground up with that team. So I mean, I think yes, they will completely flip flop, bringing on all the new players that he's bringing in and the culture he's going to bring. I think they might have a 7 or 8 win season, and then the second year they might actually contend for their conference. But the first year, I mean, he is getting in the game early. He might have a full recruiting class.
Yeah,
so I mean, that there is an argument, but I just think it might take him more than one season to turn that program around.
I can't say for sure. I'm gonna wait and see how this recruiting class pans out for Colorado, and of course, they're going to get a lot of transfers, but I can't say for sure how many wins they're going to get because we don't even know what their roster is going to look like as of right now. So I'll probably have an answer for that in a few months once we get into like the middle of the off season for college football.
Like,
I don't know enough about the guys right now because we haven't seen them play like you said, but I think I got enough faith in Dion. I think he'll make a playoff within the next 5 to 7 years. I think
Yeah,
That's fair.
maybe, yeah.
because it's expanding as well.
Yeah,
So
that is true.
I think by that time, I think he'll sneak into a playoff, and I don't know how far they'll run or if they'll make a deep run into it, but I think he'll find his way in the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, really the only thing that he did, like, that I didn't really see eye to eye with him with, I don't have a problem with it. I wouldn't have said it like that, is whenever he announced that his son was coming with him, he was like, this is your quarterback. Like, basically, he's just go ahead and telling the guys, yeah, like, this is your quarterback. There's not going to be any quarterback competition. So I think he shouldn't have said it like that. Like, obviously, people like would guess that his son would be the starting quarterback. But whenever you say it like that just probably just hurts the locker room a little bit, saying like he's not even giving us a chance, even if it's like I know it's his son, but it's just not right.
See, like speaking to Destin's point, I know he kind of had a bit of a hot take on that on Dion Sanders. See, if he does good at Colorado though, like say these first 3 or 4 years go really good for him, I don't know if he's going to stay at Colorado though.
I agree.
Like I think eventually, I think Colorado's like a build-up job. Like that's where coaches go to like build their resume.
I agree.
Because I don't think that's a place where I can't see Dion staying at Colorado for the rest of his coaching career in college football if he does wind up being successful. So, I guess we'll have to wait and see with that. But
I think by the time his time is up at Colorado, if he's got like 2 conference championships under his belt, I think he moves on. But like I don't know, man. I don't think he leaves without bringing it like a established success where he can show that he can do this at any program.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like he might win a conference championship,
Yeah.
but he's not gonna stay at Colorado.
Yeah.
He's gonna move on eventually.
Yeah.
That was my whole point. But
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they're an 8 or 9 win team, and they're definitely gonna be, Rose Bowl contenders. My playoff is possible too with the expansion. So I think they're gonna have a great run first season.
yeah, and then last but not least, shifting over to some more football, but in the National Football League, we got a little segment: contenders or pretenders. We're in the thick of things with the NFL, and so we got a few teams that are really making some progress. Some teams that are kind of on the brink. We're not too sure about. We're unsure about. So, first one we got up is the Dallas Cowboys.
And we're talking about Super Bowl contenders, right?
Yeah.
To me, the Cowboys are a team that can beat any team in the NFC, but I don't see them going to a Super Bowl. So
Like going to a Super Bowl or winning a Super Bowl?
going to the Super Bowl. I don't
Okay.
think they're going to the Super Bowl, and I'm pretty sure about it. Even though I feel like they, on a given field, they can beat anybody, I just don't think they can string together enough games in a row in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. I think it's going to crumble. I don't know why. That's just that's their MO, and I don't think they're going to break out of that mold this year. So if we're talking about winning Super Bowl, I don't think they're contending to win the Super Bowl. I don't think they can do that.
I don't know. I disagree with you, man. Respectfully, dude, that defense is elite. Like, really, it's up there. It's a toss between who has the best defense between them and the 49ers. And, like, literally, that defense alone will carry them deep into the playoffs. And the offense is no scrub of an offense. Like, it's up there in the top, really, I'd say top 10 easily in the league offensively. So, I mean, when you got Pollard and Zeke as your 1-2 punch, and then you got a receiver like CeeDee Lamb, and, Dak is back healthy. So, I mean, that team is really clicking right now. And it starts with the defense. And, with Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Diggs, I mean, that's a tough defense. They cause a lot of turnovers, and that's not going to be an easy out for anyone. So, I think they are Super Bowl contenders.
Not so fast. I got to agree with Destin on this. I don't see the Cowboys as contenders for the Super Bowl, man. Look, I think they have the talent. I think they have the weapons to do so on both sides. Obviously, bringing in Tony Pollard, giving him more playing time has really benefited them. But, I mean, they're the Cowboys. We know what they do.
I get it, yeah.
They're not going to show up when the lights are on them. And I don't see them making a Super Bowl, man. I mean, there was times when Tony Romo and Des Bryant, back when they were on the Cowboys, where they were favorites to make it out of the NFC. Didn't happen. A couple years ago, back when Dak Prescott and Zeke and the Cowboys were really on a roll, they had some opportunities and they underperformed when it came time for the playoffs. And
Yeah.
I think they're going to find I don't know how, but somehow, some way, the Cowboys are going to let down like how they're prone to doing in the playoffs.
Yeah,
So,
I mean they have been prone to do that, but I think they got it, man, this year.
I gotta agree with Noah. I'm usually on the side of Cowboys go find a way to mess it up, but for some reason I got a feeling that they're gonna be contenders this season.
Yeah,
I just got a feeling.
I mean when is the last time they've had this good of a defense? I mean, I know they fumbled in the playoffs years before, or they fumbled like leading up to the playoffs. But I mean, this defense.
I think this is
is
their
different.
first time having a true elite defense.
This defense is
Like
different,
the
man.
Emmitt Smith days.
Yeah, like
That's a
it's
long
been
time,
a
though. That's a
while.
long time.
Aikman, Michael
I mean, that's 2 decades. I mean, we talking recently. We talking 20
if you-
in 2000s.
I mean, if you look at the Super Bowl winners, man, they got one thing in common most of the time, and that's they got an elite defense.
Except for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, but
I mean,
Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott. I mean, come on now.
yeah,
they're
that's a
like-
big difference.
It's a big
Quarterback
difference.
play.
But the defense, it really levels the playing field. You see it with the Jets. I mean, they got a terrible offense. Patriots, same thing, terrible offense, but elite defense keeps them winning games. So I mean, defense evens the playing field, and so I think that's literally the reason why I'm picking I think that the Cowboys have a chance. Without that defense, no way.
I agree. I'm with Noah on that
I
one.
mean, I just see them. I can see it now. I mean, we seen it last year in the playoffs. They struggled against the Niners for most of the game.
And plus, like, I mean, this is a weak year for the NFC. I mean, you've got a couple juggernauts with the Eagles, Cowboys, and maybe the Vikings. But other than that, you've got no Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs this year. You've got no Matthew Stafford in the Rams now, and the Rams have completely tanked, and like they're literally last in their division. So I mean, the NFC is wide open, and I think the Cowboys could beat the Eagles, and I think they could beat the Vikings.
But
Yeah,
the
I'm
team
just-
that they lost to last year in the playoffs was the same team that. I mean, I think I would favor the Niners with a Jimmy G coming back in time. I thought he was out for the season, but I'm hearing that he's
He might be back for the
so
playoffs.
if
It's
Jimmy
possible.
G's back, I'm picking the Niners to win that. I think they got their number. We've seen it last year. 13 seconds, they couldn't even get a snap out. Was it
And-
14?
yeah, and the Cowboys, if they were to play the 49ers, they would be on the road because
Yeah, true.
unless they're able to take that one spot from the Eagles. But
Man, that would be a crazy game. 49ers and Cowboys, that'd be a great game to watch. Best defenses in the league. But I mean, I don't know, man. I think if you look at who's in the NFC this year, and Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, they're kind of iffy. So I mean, this is literally one of the worst, like record-wise, one of the worst teams Brady's ever been on this season. And so it's like if Brady could find a way to not make the playoffs or get like one of those 6 or 7 seeds. So I mean, because they're still not they're still not winning their division. Like it's still a conversation.
They're going to win the division.
yeah, they're gonna win. They're first right now at 6-6. But we'll get into the Bucks now.
That's just
Are
crazy.
are the Bucks title
They're
contenders?
title contenders. And I didn't want to say this. I'm done picking with my heart. I got to stop going against the GOAT. I mean, I'm not a big fan of his. I'm rooting for him now, though, of all the things he's going through.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for the guy, but we seen it this past Monday night. Down by
Oh, that's a great example. That's a great example why they go be in a Super Bowl contender.
No, it's a great example why you can't count out the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean,
Wait, I thought it was Mahomes.
Mahomes is the best of all time.
Oh, okay. So that's another argument I got you over. Okay.
What are you talking about?
We used to have GOAT arguments, and you used to try to make an argument for Mahomes. GOAT arguments.
Because when I say
back
go,
in the car, back in the.
we were arguing best when I was saying go.
I mean, we used the word GOAT. That was the reference that we.
Yeah,
used
but
to use.
when I say go, I don't think Tom Brady's the best to ever play. I just think he's the most accomplished, and that's what I mean when I say go.
I
He's not a
see-
better quarterback.
I
than
see what
Mahomes.
you mean. All right, so what do y'all think, Bucks?
I
Contenders,
think the Bucks
pretenders.
are going to turn things around and get things going. I know they struggled on offense for this entire season, but I mean, we've seen it the year that he did win the Super Bowl. They were struggling before that. They had a big time win after their bye, and they won out. I don't know if they're going to win every game out, but I do think that Tom Brady can galvanize the troops. His leadership is you can't compare it to anyone else's.
Yeah.
The amount of confidence he instills in the teammates, and I just can't count out a guy like him.
I think with the NFC South just being so weak, it's going to allow the Bucks to be able to sneak into the playoffs, even with maybe a 500 record or a 9-8 record.
Mhm.
And then come time for the playoffs, everybody's 0-0. Records are set aside,
True.
and it comes down to who's
One
going to win
game.
this game, who's going to take advantage of the matchups.
True.
I don't know if I can trust Dak Prescott to do that, but I know one quarterback who I know for a fact is who I can trust, and that's Tom Brady in the playoffs. So I'm not going to count them out as long as Tom Brady's quarterback. So I got the Bucks as a contender, and they'll have home field advantage, even though they have one of the worst records of any playoff team, just because they won their division. So
Yep. I
that's
mean,
going to help them out too. So I got the Bucks as a contender.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, not counting out the GOAT, right? I mean, we've heard that time and time again, but this is a different Bucks team. I mean, if you actually watch them play, they struggle. I mean, they play with their food more than anybody that I know of in the NFL. Like on paper, they should be winning these games, but like now, they're literally at 500 and somehow winning their division just because their division's so bad. Like 6-6, winning your division, that's just like a flop to me. Like I think if they played a team like the Eagles or the Cowboys or the Vikings, I think all three of those teams boat race the Buccaneers.
Boat race?
Like,
Boat
they are
race. You heard it.
definitely
You
they
heard
are
it.
definitely pretenders to me.
Y'all think the Eagles would blow out the
Yes,
Eagles
yes.
is winning that game for sure. This is I don't
This
think
is
that
not
was
the same
contenders.
Bucks team we've seen the past 2 years. Not near it.
So the thing about the Bucks is their defense is their strong suit, right? Especially this year, they've been able to the teams that
Well,
games that they do win, they've been
The
able to,
problem's been their
they're not playing-
offense.
Yeah, their
They
problem's
haven't-
been the offense.
They
Yeah,
haven't been able to find a rhythm with their offense. But if they are able to, that's what I'm saying. I think
Exactly.
eventually they can get things figured out on offense
because of who?
because of Tom Brady.
well, yeah. I mean, Tom Brady is Tom Brady. I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not disrespecting the fact that Tom Brady is still the quarterback of this team. So you never can count them out. But I just don't know, man. I mean, this team is different. Like the past 2 years, it is a way different team than what we have seen and how they play. They lose games they shouldn't be losing. And when has Tom Brady been 6-6 this far into the year?
Never.
I mean,
Like maybe
been
early in his career,
he's been
maybe.
playing since before I've been born.
And this is arguably one of the best rosters he's ever had.
No, this is my thing though. If they make the playoffs, what does that have to do with affecting
Exactly.
the outcome of their playoff games? What happens in the regular
I mean,
season?
we go just wait for them.
I'm
to
just
turn it
saying,
up.
like,
I mean,
no,
when
I'm
are y'all
saying
gonna turn it up?
based on-
Have
I
them?
know we're
One game,
looking at the regular season, but obviously the Bucks are going to wind up winning. They're going to probably finish 9-8, and then come time for the playoffs, whoever they play in that first round, and then onwards to the second round. Everything that happened in the regular season, I mean, when we look back on it, obviously it's gonna affect how we look at them going into it, but it doesn't have any effect on the outcome of those games.
I
if
get
it
that your
comes-
regular season record has no effect on your playoffs. I mean, if you make it in, obviously everyone's 0-0, like you said. But like based on how they've played, this is not like it's only 4 games through the season. We're 12 games through, or 13 games through actually, and literally they're 6-6 sitting there. And
And they're not playing any good quarterbacks. I mean,
yeah,
why is it
they're
so
literally
close? You playing
literally play in the worst division.
Marcus
in football.
Mariota, Andy Dalton, and you barely squeaking out games. I mean,
okay,
we keep
but-
waiting on them to just start going off.
So,
off
so
it.
Yeah,
who-
but this
oh,
is-
oh,
this is
hold on,
my-
hold on. Who in the NFC has proven themselves as a good quarterback in the playoffs?
I was just about to say that. Like all these like we're talking about how the NFC is so weak this year. All the teams that are at the top of the NFC right now, their quarterbacks have no success in the playoffs. Dak Prescott, nope. Jalen Hurts, we haven't seen it yet. Kirk Cousins, haven't seen it yet. Tom Brady,
But everybody, hold on.
Well, okay.
Hold on. But aren't you the guy that thinks that Minnesota's a contender
I do.
with Kirk Cousins? What is he
Yes.
proving?
He hasn't proven anything.
But he's
but
a,
look,
okay. But they're
that's playing
contenders.
to my point though. That's why I'm saying the Bucks are a contender.
No, but
It's
the Bucks have a
because-
proven quarterback. But you're saying a guy that's not
But like,
proven is still
it's not
still in the
like
same spot.
it's not like just the quarterback's going to win you the play. It comes
Yeah.
to this deep into the year in playoffs and Super Bowls and stuff like that. It's defense that wins you those games.
But the Bucks have a strong defense, and they have an offense.
I wouldn't
with
say that.
And they have an offense with enough weapons where they can figure things out. And they've got Leonard Fournette at running back. They've got Mike Evans. They've got Chris Godwin. They've got Julio Jones as a wide receiver 3. So if they get that figured out, the Bucks are going to be a
They
dangerous
have
team.
the pieces
I don't.
there.
I just don't.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
think. I don't think they got it, man. Not this year.
Got to start playing though. They got to start playing. Like we 13 games in, like Noah said. I mean,
He'll
the
show you-
offense should be showing some spark at this point.
It's not like they've had this huge turnaround game. Like, okay, this is the Bucks that we've seen. Like
Yeah, they
they have struggled every single week on offense.
They'll show you better than they can tell you.
Look, if I'm wrong,
I mean,
then
we'll
I'll admit it.
see.
If I'm wrong, then I'll admit it on this podcast. But
Me
from
too.
what I've seen so far from this Bucks team, they are pretenders, and they are not contending in the
Thanks.
NFC.
All right. And next one we got is the Cincinnati Bengals, contenders or pretenders?
Yeah, see, this is where
They're going to the Super Bowl. Right now, I have them going.
they're
to the
definitely
Super Bowl.
contenders. Yeah,
If I'm not being facetious, I only have 3 contenders in the AFC: Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. I think that the Bengals match up better with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs can, for some reason, in the playoffs have the Bills number, and I think the Bills, even though we haven't seen it yet, I think the Bills have the Bengals number. So I think they're all kryptonite to each other. But right now, we just talked about Tom Brady. this is going to sound a little crazy, but I think Joe Burrow is the next closest thing we're going to have to that.
To what?
Tom Brady.
To what?
Tom Brady. I think that.
Hold on. Did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or what's
think
going
Tom-
on? Wait, what is he trying to tell Joe Burrow guy?
I'm a Burrow guy.
Shiesty,
I'm a
you
Burrow guy.
What is going on?
Burrow guy.
I thought you was a Herbie guy.
I'm a Burrow guy.
Holy
What are you talking about?
Everything's
I
turned
think
around.
that,
Holy moly. This is crazy.
Tom Brady is to Michael Jordan as Joe Burrow is to Kobe Bryant. I think that's
Oh
what
my
we're about to see, and I think he's going to come into that. Joe Burrow is, for some reason,
What's going on?
has nothing.
What is going on here? Like,
It has
this is-
nothing. Hold on. It has nothing. It has nothing to do with the level of the talent he has or anything around that. He's just a guy that when I see him, he can be getting outplayed for majority of the game. But it's when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about not quarterbacks as a whole. I'm talking about the trait. There's something about Brady where you can't explain it, but you just feel like he's going to make that play when it matters most. And I feel the exact same way about Burrow.
Yeah.
I mean, we watched this past week. That game, it was always one play away from the Chiefs getting back into it towards the end of it. And we seen 3rd and 11. They're not trying to be conservative and run a clock out. Joe Burrow stays in there, takes a hit, and puts a perfect pass against great defense. It's like, for some reason, he's always able to make the play when the play needs to be made. The only time we've seen him not be able to do that is in that Super Bowl, in that last-minute drive against Aaron Donald. But other than that, he's been pretty flawless in clutch time. So that's how I feel about the Bengals.
Oh my goodness. This is
As
great.
far as the entire Bengals team, they have no holes. Great stable running backs. The offensive line has improved a lot, and the defense is one of the best defenses in the league, especially in the red zone. So the Bengals are shaping up to be a big-time threat in the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that the Bengals are definitely contenders. I mean,
crazy.
beating the Chiefs like they have. I mean, what is Joe Burrow now? 3-0 against the Chiefs.
The Chiefs, yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, there's probably not another quarterback in the league that can say that. And I mean, obviously, Bengals. I think they have a chance to make it to the AFC Championship. I think it's going to be between them and the Chiefs. And if they match up in the AFC Championship, I mean, Joe Burrow's 3-0 against them Chiefs. So I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting. But I would say that the top tier of the AFC right now is the Bengals and Chiefs. I wouldn't put the Bills up there right now.
Really?
Dude, I mean, they have. I get that they're 9-3. Like they're not a scrub team, but I would put them at the B tier under the Chiefs and Bengals right now.
They definitely need Vaughn back.
Yeah,
That pass rush is
They've
very
missed-
important.
they've
for
missed
them.
him.
They already don't have their secondary all the way either.
yeah.
I
I mean,
have the Bills. I just can't differentiate. I think they're in that same tier with the Chiefs and the Bengals. I don't think that. I think on the field, especially at home, I wouldn't be mad at them being not overwhelming favorite, but I wouldn't be mad at them being a favorite.
Yeah, and I got to have them as contenders too. I've been really impressed with what I've been seeing with Joe Burrow. Obviously, he's really impressed me, man. And I mean, what you shaking your head for?
I mean, this is just crazy. I mean, I'm used to y'all doing this with Herbert, but y'all are actually giving Burrow his flowers.
No, I've never said. Look,
This is
I've given
amazing.
Burrow credit before. I just now I moved him a spot into my top 5. I have him,
Who dropped?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, no, you got to be kidding me. I thought you was going to say Herbie. You still don't want to admit it. This guy.
Bro.
Oh, man. I
Anyway.
thought you was going to do it. I was
Anyway.
about to get hyped. I was about to get
Anyway, but I got nothing bad to say about the Bengals. They really impressed me this year, and Joe Burrow has really done a good job in the absence of Jamar Chase of coming in there and handling business. So, I gotta give him props for that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we know your answer, Jalen.
hyped. I mean, y'all just making me so happy. I don't even know what to. I'm speechless. JP usually get loud and talk. I mean, y'all kind of covered all the bases. I
Yep.
mean, I have nothing else to say. I mean, Destin did a great job. Even Eli gave Burrow his flowers. Hey, perfect. I don't even know what else to say on this one.
What's the next team? we
Y'all
got?
covered everything, man. I love that.
Go ahead. What's the next team?
Burrow.
And last but not least, we got the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh,
Yeah. I mean, again,
pretender.
pretender.
I don't trust Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
I'll tell you who I do trust though, Justin Jefferson. Number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. I got them as contenders. So
Okay.
I think with Justin Jefferson, with the way he's been playing, I mean he's been playing out of this world these past several weeks. They're playing some close games, but they're finding ways to win. They're finding different ways to win too. And in the playoffs, that's all you're gonna see. Like the playoffs are full of those types of games. So the Vikings are battle tested. Probably more than any other team in the league. They've had a lot of close games that have come down to the wire, and a lot of those they've come out on top. So I think that's going to benefit them. And I know Kirk Cousins isn't the most proven quarterback, but I do think that defense is going to be able to step up. They've got the weapons around them to be able to help elevate his game. So that's why I've got the Vikings as contenders.
They're not contenders. The Vikings are pretenders. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so you trust Justin Jefferson, but you do not trust Kirk Cousins?
I trust Kirk
Ball
Cousins
has to
with the
get to
weapons
Jefferson.
around him.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, how do you trust the receiver but not the quarterback? Somebody's got to throw the receiver the ball.
I mean,
But,
I just don't trust.
see.
I don't know what
think
either
Justin-
of them going to do in the playoffs. I mean, we haven't seen any of them in the playoffs, so until I see, I'm a guy that it's hard for me to go off on a limb. And if I haven't seen you do it before, then I'm not going to think that you're going to be somebody different in the playoffs. So,
All right, I want to bring up one thing of why the Vikings are a pretender. This right here, Cowboys 40-3 when they played. 40-3.
Bro, I think that the
40
And,
to
and you know
3.
what's funny? Because Noah was on the side of the Vikings earlier this year. Because me and that's not, I don't think we ever believed in them.
Nah.
Even I don't care about the record.
I don't think
I can see through that record.
Look, I don't think they beat a team like the Eagles or the Cowboys. There's no
Neither.
way. I mean,
Neither.
the Cowboys, when you beat a team 40-3, that's
Yeah, they
just
embarrassed them.
that's just ultimate domination. Like, it's not like that game was close and they're like, okay, if they met again, that we could see what happened.
And this,
37-point differential
is-
is insane.
and this is the thing with Kirk. Kirk has almost every game where it should have been 2 or 3 balls that could have been picked, and sometimes
Yeah.
he gets lucky and they drop the pass.
Okay, yeah, and
So
like
I
Justin
don't-
Jefferson's bailed him out. Yeah,
Yeah, and then that play, yeah. I mean, they're out of that game. If Jefferson don't make.
yeah.
I mean, the number one receiver. You know, me and Eli already said that. You know, it's just. I mean, the JP takes go crazy, but I mean, yeah, Justin Jefferson. I mean, he made an incredible catch and he bailed him out. Let's just be real. He bailed out because Justin Jefferson down there somewhere and he caught the ball.
And if
I
you look
can't
at that
trust
game-winning
Kirk.
play too, I mean, it was pass interference against Justin Jefferson, and he still caught it. You know, and those are the type of playmakers you need in the playoffs when you're making deep runs. So,
Yeah.
But I just can see Kirk making.
Where was he
multiple
at in that
mistakes.
Cowboys game though?
I mean, you brought up the Cowboys game, but that's one game. I think
But
every
it's not like it's just
Cowboys
a random.
are-
Like
the Bills-
the Cowboys are a team they're going to have to go through.
to
the
be-
Bills are a Super Bowl contender, and they've got blown out before this year. I mean,
Who?
you can say that with any
Who
team.
they get blown out?
I have to look it up.
I don't
but-
remember the Bills having
don't
a
think the
blowout
Bills are
rain
loss.
check
blown
on that.
out.
Rain check on that. But the Eagles took the last time I remember they blew out the Vikings too as well. Was that second week in the season?
I think
Blew
you're
out the
right.
Vikings. The Eagles did.
I don't trust the Vikings at all, man.
They blow him out.
I mean,
They
I
blew
don't know
them out.
about 40-3 blowout.
It wasn't
but
It wasn't that
43,
bad,
but the
but it
Eagles
was-
blew out the
I
Vikings.
think it was like
was-
38-17.
it was a couple touchdowns for sure. I remember
but,
it
I
wasn't.
If
crazy,
you also
crazy.
watch that Cowboys Vikings game, like, it's not like this was first game of the season. This was only a few weeks ago, and this was both of these teams at their complete health. Like, it's not like you had any excuses. The Cowboys defense, like I said, dominated the Vikings everywhere. Like, they caused multiple turnovers. They could not move the ball, and when it comes down to it, Kirk Cousins against that Cowboys defense literally could only put up 3 points in that game.
I mean, he got sacked like 10 times. It
Eli
was terrible.
And I'm only bringing that up because it's the Cowboys, and that's a team that the Vikings would have to probably face to make the Super Bowl in the NFC playoffs.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's a regular season game, but I like to see the Cowboys do that in the playoffs, though.
I would too.
Well, hold
The
on.
Vikings too, though.
The Vikings ain't done in the playoffs either.
They're both pretenders.
Hey, I know.
To me, they're both pretenders to me. So
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
the Vikings. I give them credit. They find a way to win games. I
Yeah.
mean, they're 10-2 and could be 2-10. I mean, every game is close and it's guaranteed. I mean, they're the TCU of NFL. Let's be real, and they go show it in the playoffs. Literally, just like TCU.
Well, there you go. That's a good point.
They're literally TCU. Like, it's perfect. It's a perfect. I
Yeah.
mean, quarterback, TCU, everything is it just reminds me of how TCU is. They find a way to win games.
Same colors too, purple.
Literally, they're the same. They're the
The
same
same.
thing.
Yeah.
And they have an elite receiver. I don't know the guy's name, number 1, but he's elite.
Quentin Johnston.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
And the Vikings got their one elite. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, hey.
TCU of the NFL.
W comparison.
TCU of the NFL.
we're pairs.
They find a way to win games.
One comparison.
And I know Eli is not a fan of teams that play close games, so he shouldn't be a fan of the Vikings playing close games.
Well, I'm kind of sticking to my gun since I was the only
are.
one that actually picked the Vikings to win the division. So
Yeah, we did have the embarrassing. Who else picked
Yeah,
the Packers?
Eli has a lot of pride. I will.
I
Who
think,
else
the,
picked
I
the
think the
Packers for
NFL
me?
is a different. I think it's any given Sunday for me in the NFL. Anybody can beat anybody. So I,
I
don't,
mean, yeah, true. but-
so I don't. I take it with a grain of salt.
Is that it?
yes, that's going to wrap it up. So we appreciate everybody tuning in, listening to this week's episode of the Rundown Podcast. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. You you know the deal. So we appreciate all you guys, and make sure to come back and tune in next week.
Peace.
Peace out.
Love y'all. Stay up, stay blessed, and we are out.